Welcome to Fireside Gaming. I'm Emblem, and it's a sad day for retro game fans as we inch closer to the closing of the Wii U and 3DS eShop. The eShop will close on March 27th, meaning that no more games can be purchased after that time. And that also means it's the official death of the Virtual Console. Virtual Console was the branding Nintendo used for selling digital copies of retro games. It started on the Wii and saw the release of loads of old games for players to enjoy. That effort continued with the release of the Wii U, but is no longer in use following the release of the Switch. Instead, Nintendo Switch Online replaces the Virtual Console, but I wouldn't say it's superior. Its library of games is incredibly limited, and it only allows play through a subscription service. In comparison, the Virtual Console allows for one-time purchases of digital games and has a much larger library to choose from. So while I'm still a little salty that Nintendo didn't keep the Virtual Console going into the Switch, I can't change that. What I can do is tell you about some games and series worth buying on the Virtual Console before it disappears. For the record, this is mostly centered around the Wii U's eShop, but I'm also mentioning some games that are exclusive to the 3DS eShop as well. First up, let's talk about the Metroid series. One of the standouts available on the Wii U eShop is Metroid Prime Hunters. This is originally a DS game, and it's a prime example of how unique the Wii U is. Due to the nature of the gamepad, players could play DS games from the Virtual Console. This let them set the top or bottom screen of the DS to the TV, while the other is on the gamepad's display. And it's not just Hunters that's available on the eShop. Gamers can also pick up Metroid Zero Mission, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, and Metroid Fusion. This lets them play through the entirety of the main series leading up to Metroid Dread. I still can't understand how Nintendo didn't have these games on Nintendo Switch Online before Dread's release, and Zero Mission is still missing as of this video, but you can pick them up here if you don't dilly-dally. Next up, we have the Fire Emblem series. Specifically, I'm focusing on the Fire Emblem games released on the GBA. That includes the first Fire Emblem game to be released in the US, as well as Sacred Stones after it. There's also Shadow Dragon, another DS game available through the Wii U. The GBA Fire Emblem games are where I came into the series, and it's where the pixel art peaked. Seriously, there's yet to be a Fire Emblem game with animations as fun and engaging as these. Both games are also tons of fun if you enjoy strategy battles and well thought out characters. I highly advise checking them out if you're a newer fan to the series that hasn't already gone back and played some of the older entries. Next up, we have to talk about Mario's own RPG series. This starts with Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. You can pick it up on the Wii U eShop, and while that game is standalone, there are other Mario RPGs available on the Virtual Console. That includes Superstar Saga for the GBA, as well as its sequel, Partners in Time, for the DS. And while I'm not a fan of Paper Mario, it's here as well if you're looking for more RPGs to fill your time with. Now we've got to talk about a series that Nintendo has forgotten. FZero. Nintendo seems to have no interest in making a new game in this franchise, and I'm more than a little frustrated by that. But at least players can experience a vast plethora of games from this series via the Virtual Console. My personal favorite is F-Zero X for the N64, but there's also F-Zero on the SNES, as well as Maximum Velocity and GP Legend for the GBA. Maximum Velocity is worth noting as it actually serves as a sequel to the original F-Zero and takes place 25 years after it. That means the original F-Zero drivers have retired and a new generation is behind the wheel, including one that may even be Captain Falcon's son. This is one of those ones that's worth checking out as it's the last game in the normal F-Zero timeline. I've mentioned it a couple times before, but I love Harvest Moon games. There's just something so appealing about simulating the farmer life, wooing a beautiful lady, and settling down with a family. And luckily, there's plenty of games from the series available on the eShop. For a simpler game, there's Harvest Moon on the SNES, and if you want 3D, you can choose Harvest Moon 64. Players looking for even more options will want to check out Friends of Mineral Town on the GBA, which is probably where the series peaked. And if you'd rather play as a female farmer and woo lads, then you can look at more Friends of Mineral Town. This keeps the same basic structure as Friends of Mineral Town, but lets you play as a female protagonist. But maybe the farm life isn't for you. Maybe you're seeking out something with a little more excitement. Say an ongoing war between nations that only you can bring to an end. If that's the case, then you can check out the Advance Wars series on the Virtual Console. That includes its two GBA games, Advance Wars and Advance Wars Black Hole Rising, as well as the third game in the series, Advance Wars Dual Strike, for the DS. All of these are available on the Wii U and are well worth checking out. They aren't RPGs like Fire Emblem, but they still maintain that grid-based combat. Players have to learn about commanding troops and taking advantage of special CO powers to progress. And while these are getting a reboot on Switch, I have a preference for sprite art. That's not to say the remake looks bad, but I prefer the look these games have over the reboot camp version. Spinning back around to RPGs, we have another series that Nintendo has completely forgotten about: Golden Sun. Both Golden Sun and Golden Sun Lost Age are available on the eShop under the GBA Virtual Console. Unfortunately, the third game, Dark Dawn, didn't get a re-release even though it came out on the DS. While that's a little unfortunate, it's worth picking up the first two games in the series before they leave the eShop. I've personally found them to be a little hard to find out in the wild, so this is a great way for players to experience them. Klonoa is a series that you might have heard about recently. The first two games recently got a re-release on the Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, and the Nintendo Switch through the Fantasy Reverie series collection. But you know what that collection doesn't have? The GBA games. Both Klonoa, Empire of Dreams, and Dream Champ Tournament are available for purchase via the Wii U eShop. The games aren't 2.5D platformers like Door to Phantomile or Lunatea's Veil, but instead switch to a full 2D perspective. And they're both still a lot of fun with their unique platforming and puzzles for players to solve. Don't sleep on these ones. The eShop is the easiest way to still buy them, and who knows when they'll get released again. The second to last game on our list is a prime example of the good that came from the Virtual Console. Sin and Punishment is an N64 game that originally only released in Japan. However, its popularity with import gamers led to it being an underground classic in the US. That resulted in it being heavily requested for the Virtual Console when it launched on the Wii, and Nintendo listened. We got a new version of the game with English menus, which is all the change that was needed since the original dub is already in English. Luckily, Nintendo continued to support the game with a second release on the Wii U's Virtual Console. It's a fun arcade shooter with some unique gameplay, and this is the only way players can still buy the official US release. Otherwise, you have to have a Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass subscription to play the game legally. My final game worth picking up from the Wii U eShop is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. This game has only seen two releases. Its original for the GBA back in 2003, and its release on the Wii U Virtual Console. That's it. Square has shown that they don't have much love for the Tactics series with the lack of any new games or even re-releases of old ones, and that holds true for Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. If you want to buy a copy of this game without going second-hand, the Wii U eShop is the only way to do it, and it's not even available on Nintendo Switch Online either. Tactics Advance is worth playing if you enjoy the genre, and I've got a review of it in the works, so keep an eye out for that. And just real quick, I've got a couple of quick honorable mentions. The first is the Zelda series, which includes games such as Minish Cap, Link to the Past, and a plethora of others that are available on the eShop. This is one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, and we still have yet to see any kind of physical collection for it on the Switch, so players might want to consider digital copies instead if you want to own the games. The second honorable mention is the Pokemon series. Many of the core games, including Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, are available on the 3DS eShop. And if you're looking for side games, the Wii U has Pokemon Snap as well as the Mystery Dungeon and Ranger games. Considering how much some of these games go for on the secondhand market, this is a great way to play them without breaking the bank or any laws. And there we have it. These are my recommendations for games and series to buy before the Wii U and 3DS eShops close down. It's sad that I even have to make a video like this, but Nintendo clearly has no interest in selling these games on Switch. And I get that not everyone can run out and purchase these with how little time is left, but I felt I had to do something to shine a light on the Virtual Console. It's one of my favorite things Nintendo has ever done, and I'm truly sad to see it go. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time, take it easy.